Today we're going to be working with the Nord Stage 4. I'm going to show you step by step how to build patches and worship layers on this keyboard. Definitely stick around even if you don't own a Nord Stage 4. The principles that I'm going to share with you will apply and translate to different keyboards as well, like the MONTAGE, the Kurzweil, the Roland. All of these principles and these patch ideas I'm going to show you, you can apply them with the keyboard that you currently use. Let's get into it. So assuming you do not know how to use the Nord Stage 4, these keyboards are very simple to understand and to use. I have another video where I kind of break down the Nord Stage 4 and understanding how this keyboard works. But let's start with a blank canvas and create a worship patch, right? Let's hold down Shift and then I'm going to press Bank until we get to Program G. Program G is typically an empty layer and there's not much going on these layers. So essentially I have a blank canvas right now with just white grain, right? All right, white grand is cool, but my favorite Nord piano is the Royal Grand. So let's start off building with the Royal Grand. We will keep the first patch super simple. We're gonna go piano, pad, and strings. So I'm gonna come over here to the synth section. Let's turn on the synth section and Pearsall pops up. What I want to do is I want to go over to the samples. So I'm gonna press this button right here and then the samples are going to come up. Matter of fact, let's come over here. Let's hold down Shift. Then let's press synth right here. And then we get access to the different pads and stuff as well. So the pad that I want to use is going to be called Calm Pad. I really like the way this pad sounds. All right, what I want to do is I want to click on piano again, and then I want to come over here and then I want to turn on some reverb. So let's turn on reverb and let's use Cathedral Reverb. This is a new reverb in the Nord series. So you hear the reverb is only affecting piano 1 and it's not affecting the synth. And that's what we want. So let's add in a string layer underneath the pad. So let's come over here. Let's press samples. And let's find a string sound that we like. Let's turn this off. So this is Orc Strings Legato. I want to add some reverb to these strings. So we're going to turn on the reverb over here. All right, let's turn back on the piano and then let's turn back on pad 1 and make sure we keep on the strings as well. Let's turn down some of this reverb on the piano. Let's turn down some of the reverb on the strings as well. So this is a standard patch that you can build on any keyboard. We got piano, pad, strings. This is a simple worship patch. This is almost like the standard worship patch that we always use in church. It's perfect for worship songs and it's also perfect for talk music as well. And blending layers is super important. You don't want to just turn up your pad and your strings all the way like this because it's going to get messy. But the better way to approach it is keeping the pad slightly maybe halfway and keeping the strings tucked underneath. And then as the song builds, you can maybe turn up the strings a little bit. All right, let's save this patch now. Let's hold down Shift and then we're going to press Store. And then it's going to give me the option to name this patch. I'm just going to name this patch Worship 1. All right, we got Worship 1. Then we're going to press Store again. So we have it saved. All right, let's build on this patch. We're going to keep the piano, we're going to keep the strings and the pad there, but we're going to add in another EP underneath the piano. And this is going to make it sound more full, you know? So let's come over here. Let's press Layer Piano 2, which is labeled B. Then we're going to change it to digital. And let's find Ballad EP1. I like this piano right here. This is what it sounds like. So let's blend all of the sounds together that we have. And we're going to apply the same principle that I just told you about with the strings and the pad to piano 2. When we're talking about worship patches and using layers in church, it's all about blending. So I'm going to tuck that piano 2 underneath. Turn these strings down a little bit. Some of you may know this trick, you probably don't. So let's turn off the strings and the pad, right? And then let's just keep on piano 1 and piano 2. So we hear that ballad EP underneath the piano, right? Here's what you can do to make this ballad EP sound even better and a little bit more precise. We can turn the octave up on piano 2 and check this out. And if I want the piano to be a little bit more sharper and bright, I can turn up the equalizer right here. And this is going to change the EQ settings to bright. All right, let's move on to patch 3. So patch 3, I want to actually use some of the samples that I have created for the Nord Stage 4, right? So let's change this entire patch, right? So let's change Royal Grand 3D to, let's use Soft Grand. Let's come over here to Synth Layer 1 and let's turn this mode to samples. And we're going to come over here to my user samples. If you want access to these samples, they sound really, really good. You can click the link below and get access to them. Let's change the piano because we're going to build a churchy patch now. All right, we have Richmond Synth on Synth Layer 1. Let's add in Synth Layer 2. Let's use Bruno patch, right? And these are patches that I have built out. And if I want this synth to wiggle a little bit, I can come over here and press vibrato, and we can turn on that vibrato for the synths. Then when we turn back on the piano, all right, that is a patch idea you can use during a upbeat praise song, right? Or during a shout. All right, let's mess around with one more patch idea. Let's go back to the samples that I have created, right? So let's pull up Bethel pad. And I really, really like this pad right here. Let's turn off this vibrato. And then let's add in another pad. Let's add in Disney. All right, on Bethel pad, let's turn up the reverb. Then let's add in some strings. Let's turn on the delay. So that is a patch idea you can use on your keyboard. Again, I'm using Royal Grand 3D, Ballad EP1, Bethel pad, and Disney pad. That's from my sample pack for the Nord Stage 4 and the Nord Stage 3. And we're using Orc Strings Legato. This is how you can create worship sounds and patches on the Nord Stage 4. Again, the principles that I have showed you on creating these sounds apply with other keyboards as well. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. I would love to interact with you guys. And if you want access to the sounds and the resources that I use in church on Sunday mornings, click the link below. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. We are out.